Hello folks, and welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Wednesday, August the 20th, and I went into town unescorted again today. And I purchased a new toy. Not a gun, not a bow, not even a blade, not even anything to do with golf. I purchased a bread maker. I don't really know what I'm doing. No doubt when my domestic team leader comes home, I'll be given the appropriate amount of corrective advice, but it's doing its thing at the moment. Looking through the little window, it doesn't actually look like a loaf of bread in there, but hey ho, I've got an hour or so to go, so maybe I'll be eating some nice homemade bread, and maybe again I'll be reminded that I missed something crucially important. Anyways, to boxing. The American journalist A.J. Liebling, who lived from 1904 to 1963, and once wrote a book called The Sweet Science that was hailed by Sports Illustrated as the best book on sports ever written, is probably spinning in the proverbial grave at today's news. Not the bread maker being purchased, but even more ridiculous news. Gervonta Tank Davis is going to meet none other than Jake Paul in a boxing exhibition, game, match, whatever you want to call it. Can't call it a fight. Apparently this travesty is going to take place on November the 14th, and it's going to be broadcast on Netflix. I think I'll be busy that day. The Ring magazine is reporting all this, and apparently the match is going to take place at Atlanta State Farm Arena. Davis, who was slated for a lightweight title fight rematch with Lamont Roach, you remember, of course, the first Roach fight, Davis escaped with a very lucky draw after taking a knee and then running to his corner, for which he should have been disqualified, frankly. Lamont Roach has been deprived of that rematch because, of course, Tank Davis was arrested for domestic assault. I must add, those charges have subsequently been dropped. Apparently, the person who he was alleged to have assaulted is not interested in pressing charges. Some jurisdictions have automatic charges, and it doesn't really matter if the victim wants to retract their statement. But I guess wherever he was arrested isn't one of those jurisdictions. Now, Jake Paul, as we know, was supposed to fight again. It was supposed to enter into some sort of arrangement with Anthony Joshua. I was actually hoping it would be for real, because then we would be rid of Jake Paul as a competitor. I want to say, by the way, Jake Paul as a promoter and what he does for women's boxing and generally what he does for the sport from a business and promotional perspective doesn't cause me any sort of itch under the saddle. But when Jake Paul professes to be a competitor, well, then I and he sort of part ways, as it were. I mean, if he's serious and he wants to fight at the cruiserweight level, which is what he's supposed to be, and he wants to sort of work his way through people who are, you know, journeymen and then onwards and upwards, well, bravo. But he seems to be making a mockery of the sport, to my way of thinking, when he plays as a competitor. So I want to make a clear distinction between Jake Paul, the athlete, and Jake Paul, the promoter. So this conversation is just about him as a athlete. Now, he's a very fit fellow, of course. You know, he'd probably, you know, wipe the floor with me, but that's not the point. He was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, whatever that would have looked like. But apparently that's fallen by the wayside because he is now it's a done deal that he's going to engage in this game with Gervonta Tank Davis. As the Ring magazine says, it's an event that will no doubt do big business, but it's less fighting than it is entertainment, given the weight disparity and exhibition rules. And the author of this article is Mike Coppinger, who's normally a very, very reliable. He goes on to say, when Floyd Mayweather faced Jake's older brother Logan Paul in an exhibition in 2021, Mayweather couldn't weigh more than 160 while Logan was capped at 190. Given an even larger weight gap here, expect similar rules and of course larger gloves than the 8-ounce version Davis is accustomed to or the 10-ounce gloves Paul uses. Paul is, of course, no stranger to star-studded events. In November, Paul faced then 58-year-old Mike Tyson in an 8-round bout, which was Netflix's entrance into boxing. Though the rules were modified, it was deemed an official fight rather than an exhibition. That was another travesty. Absolute load of whatever. Exert your expletive of choice in there. Jake Paul was then supposed to engage in some sort of move around with Canelo. He then faced Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That was just a load of exert another expletive. On numerous occasions, Mike Coppinger continues to say, Paul has called for a fight with Davis, despite Davis reigning as a title holder at 135. Paul is a cruiserweight, which has a limit of 200 pounds. And that's about it. So what will they fight at? Who knows? Who cares? It'll be on Netflix. If there is a good undercard, I'll watch the undercard and then I'll just turn off, personally, because I can't think of this as being boxing. Like, what is it? I mean, if they were two retired folks in the close to the same weight category and they wanted to do an exhibition of technique and style, or if one of them was retired and wanted to do an exhibition with a current fighter, again of technique and style, we could say, yeah, okay, we'll watch it, right? Just to see what it could look like. I mean, I struggle with exhibition matches anyhow because what is it? It's not a spar. It's not a fight. It's not real. You're showing a move. Well, I don't know what to call it. But this, I do know what to call this. And travesty is the word I'm using. And you can put an effing word in front of that if you like. This is just nonsense, isn't it? And as boxing fans, we should really just switch off. Whatever the undercard is, great, watch it. If it's real boxing, or if it's MMA, I don't really care. Watch it. But when this event takes place, let's just all switch off, shall we? Because we can't give credibility to this. Tank Davis, who is a current champion, should be defending his belt or relinquish it. If Alexander Usyk retired, for example, and said, that's it, I'm done with boxing, thank you very much. Oh, Jake Paul wants to give me $100 million to beat the bejesus out of him. Sure. He's not holding up any belts or whatever, But this is preposterous. On an order of magnitude worse than Fury fighting Ngannou. So anyways, I will be switching off. And hopefully you will too. So there we go. I'll turn my rant mode off and I'll go back to monitoring the loaf of bread that may or may not work out. I'll let you know on the next video. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time as always. Have a fabulous day wherever you are and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.